Episode 5 of Minecraft Hardcore. The goal for today is to get perfect armor, and straight off the bat, I knew this was going to take a very long time. But before I could even think about getting perfect armor, I needed to go back 5,000 blocks from the journey from last episode. So I start to head back. First thing I did when I got home was empty my inventory in the chest. The first thing I needed to do in order to obtain perfect armor was to get some villagers, because some enchantment books can only be obtained by villagers or fishing, and the fishing really does take forever, so I'm choosing the villagers. I don't know if you remember, but in the first episode of this series, I actually found a village. So I'm gonna go back there and borrow some villagers. When I got there, I kidnapped a villager and took him back to my house. I then trap him in a hole. Then I put fences around the hole, and then I just remove the hole. And that was one villager. But as you probably know, to breed villagers, you need 2 of them. So I did the exact same thing, just with another villager. And just like that, now I had 2 villagers. When nighttime came, I saw a zombie villager, which happened to be a librarian. So I trapped him with the rest of the villagers, which turned out to be a big mistake. My 2 villagers ran away, so I quickly went to sleep so they won't get killed by other zombies, but that also turned out to be a pretty big mistake. So, yeah, that was annoying. I put the villagers back in their cage. Next thing I needed to do was to build a villager breeder, because I needed quite a lot of villagers for all the different enchantment books. So, item collecting montage in 3, 2, 1. I had to cut off that montage for a second because I actually found another zombie villager, which I then again trapped with the other villagers. And coincidentally, in the last episode, I actually found an igloo on my 5,000 block journey, which contained both a golden apple and a potion of weakness, which, if you don't know, actually is what you need to cure a zombie villager. And when you do, it gives you ridiculously cheap trades that you could not access otherwise. So I chucked this splash potion of weakness, feed them both a golden apple, and now I just had to wait for a few minutes, and when I get the zombie doctor achievement, then I would know that they have cured. But then this happened. If you didn't understand what just happened, basically, one zombie villager cured faster than the other, but because they were in the boat together, the still uncured zombie villager started killing the already cured villager, turning him back into a zombie villager. So after the other zombie villager finished curing, I had to kill the one that already had cured because I didn't want him to kill the villager that has just cured. And killing him was a very painful thing to do because that meant I would have to go get another villager. But before that, let's finish the montage. And that was everything I needed for the farm. So I need to find a place to build the farm, and I chose right here. So now farm building montage in 3, 2, 1. And now the farm was completed. The only thing left was to put the villagers into the little carriage. And the reason being is that will be the room that they'll actually collect the carrot and will automatically breed. And their babies will go into the water room where they'll get picked up by a minecart when I press a button. And the way to actually do it, to get the villagers into their farm, is to actually put a composter on the floor so the villagers follow it, and when they become farmers, you just break the composter, which fires them from that job basically, and then place it closer to the farm until they're inside of it. So, yeah. And now that I had the villagers in the farm, it was time to actually start working on the next phase of this huge project, which is actually building an XP farm, so I'll have enough XP to actually enchant all the books on the armor. Now it was actually time to gather resources for the XP farm, and that farm needs 12 stacks of wooden planks and 13.5 stacks of wooden slabs. So I started to chop a lot of wood. And that right there was everything I needed for the XP farm. The footage of me building the pillar for the farm somehow got either deleted or I forgot to press record. So I'll just continue it off from here. What I'm doing now is basically building the chamber where the mobs will spawn, and they will get forced into the killing chamber by water. If you didn't really understand this, then I'm just going to be showing you replay mod footage of how the farm works when I finished building it. If you're wondering why all these trap doors are needed on the floor, basically I had to spawn-proof the platform of spiders because spiders can't fall into the killing chamber, so they'll just get stuck, limiting the mob capacity, so it'll just slow down the farm. Now all that was left to do was just to make a roof. And now the farm was officially complete. When I came down, I saw it drown with a trident, so I tried to kill it just in case it will drop the trident. And it actually did. I then tested out the farm to see if it works. But then something happened. Apparently, if you crouch, the creepers see you and then they explode. I was glad to see that the farm works, and if you still don't understand how it works, then here's some replay footage. So basically, the mobs spawn on all of these 8 platforms, fall into the water, and then get pushed by the water into the long pipe, which brings them all the way to 1 HP when they hit the bottom, which is where I kill them, and their loot goes into hoppers, which lead to a chest. I was glad to see that the villager breeder also worked. But then my joy ended when I realized that the footage of me enchanting my armor was also deleted. But I only enchanted my armor for the time being, because at the end of the episode I was gonna disenchant the armor and put on the perfect enchantments. Now it was time to move on to the biggest part of this project, actually trading for the perfect enchantments. But to do that, I had to make an area for the villagers to stay. So I didn't want to waste my time decorating it, because this is just a temporary spot for the villagers, because when I do build my castle in my town, they are going to have a much bigger trading hall, which I am going to decorate. But for now, they'll just be staying here. I then crafted a lectern and immigrated the first villager into the trading basement. And then the second one. And the trade was a mending book for 10 emeralds on the first try, which was really good. It was a really good trade. I then used the emeralds I had to trade for the mending book, so his trades won't change. Because if you didn't know, a villager's trade can change unless you trade with that villager. But I currently had no easy way of getting emeralds. But in case you didn't know, a fletcher actually trades half a stack of sticks for 1 emerald. Meaning, if I mine a stack of logs, that will turn into 4 stacks of planks, which will turn into 8 stacks of sticks, which will turn into 16 emeralds. So, about 5 minutes for 16 emeralds, which would be pretty good. So, I decided to use that method. I now had an easy way of getting emeralds. I then knocked off aqua affinity. But then something really bad happened. A raid started because a villager workstation was nearby, but because there was one pillager left, he was the only raider of this wave, but I didn't want there to be another wave. So I trapped him in a box until he despawns and the raid is over. And that's what I call troubleshooting. And when I tried to get a zombie to kill the pillager, this happened. I then continued and got unbreaking. I then got a mason villager, which was perfect because this guy trades 10 clay balls for 1 emerald, and I had an entire ocean near my house, which, in case you don't know, contains a lot of clay. I then knocked off protection 4, and then feather falling. I was running out of leather, so the only logical thing to do was to revive the cow pit. I then combined 8 unbreaking 2 books to make 4 unbreaking 3 books. And did the same for feather falling 4. And then I knocked off fire protection. And then depth strider 3. I got kinda ripped off there, but I don't really care. Now it was time for me to attempt probably the most difficult enchantment I needed, which is soul speed. And it is actually so difficult because the only way to get it is from Piglin trade, which means I'll have to go to the nether and try to trade with piglins while hoglins and ghasts try shooting at me and killing me, which would be pretty hard to do. I really didn't want to trade with that guy out in the open, so I dug a little underground box for us to trade in, so I won't get killed by other mobs while trying to trade with them. I was hoping 15 gold would be enough, but of course it wasn't. I traded with these guys for quite a while, but I still didn't get the enchantment book of soul speed I wanted. But before I could continue in that, I wanted to make a mini nether hub to make my nether spawn a little bit safer. So I got some building blocks and began building. 20 minutes later, I managed to bring a piglin inside my nether hub, which was a whole lot safer than trading with it out in the wilderness. I then smelt a bunch of gold and try to trade it in for a soul speed book. But even after trading all the gold, I only got a soul speed 1 book, and I needed at least soul speed 2. After about 20 minutes of doing the same thing, I got another soul speed 1 book, which I combined with the other one to get a soul speed 2 book. And I now finally had all the enchantment books I needed. But I need a lot of XP to actually put this on my armor. So I go to the XP farm and try to get some. But when I tried to put the last enchantments on my boots, I came to a horrible realization. It was too expensive, which meant no matter how much XP I got, I could never put that last enchantment. And at first I thought I combined the enchantments wrongly, but then I thought it might have been because I used fire protection instead of normal protection. Either way, that meant I had to practically get the 4 enchantments that I already put on my boots, since I wouldn't be able to enchant these boots anymore. But when I put on the last enchantment, the exact same thing happened. At this point, I was getting really frustrated. I then thought I might have combined the books in the wrong order, so, like last time, I had to collect the 4 books I had already put on my boots. It was time for the moment of truth. I was really struggling to find out what I did wrong. I literally searched the entire internet for answers, but I couldn't find anything. Until I watched another tutorial on getting perfect armor, and they said this. They said, do not combine any enchantment books like 4 individual thorns 1s into 1 thorns 3, because that will mess up the enchantments. And guess what? That was exactly what I had done wrong. See, I combined multiple enchantments, like 4 feather falling 2s to form 1 feather falling 4, or 2 unbreaking 2s to form 1 unbreaking 3. So I finally realized what the problem was. But this also meant I would have to get a couple of new villagers and make sure that the enchantment they are selling is the full book and not fractions of it. And this might seem pretty straightforward, but one of the enchantments I combined was soul speed, meaning I'd have to go through all of that again. Also, I forgot to show another time before that where I also got too expensive. So I quickly knocked off feather falling 4. But then something really bad happened. I don't think I had that on record, but a bit before that, I got a little too close to the piglin, so he attacked me and died because of my thorns armor. It was day 200, so I decided to do a water bucket clutch in honor of surviving 200 days. Cut that out. The video cut out for a second there, but I actually made it my very first try. I go mine some gold with my fortune pick. And then I traded with some piglins in a boat who were kind enough to give me soul speed 2 pretty quickly. I finally had all the books, and it was now time for the actual moment of truth. And when I tried enchanting the boots, it finally worked. And after enchanting my other armor pieces, I finally had perfect armor. So that's all for today. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a lot of people because this video took over 2 weeks to record and a week and a half to edit, and it was really hard and painful to make. So I would really appreciate it if you did all those stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.